Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sharing a Drink with Matt. Today I'm talking to Punksters, Sydney Punksters, Snakebite Whisky. Thank you. Enjoy.
Hey, mate.
Hey, mate.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So it's just me and you, eh?
Yeah, unfortunately, but I'll be able to definitely drink and answer all your questions.
Oh, no, that's excellent. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
It's all right. I'm just setting up a charger so my device doesn't die.
Oh, that's all right, mate. I've got a 15-year-old daughter that's stuck in a tantrum at the moment, so...
How you been?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, good, man. Good.
I
Tell
did
you,
your hair, man. You know, as soon as your picture came up, I thought I'm interviewing Motley Crue because you got a Nikki Sixx hairdo. That's
I
fucking
definitely do. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so where did the name come from?
So Jay started Snakebite Whisky when he actually moved to Brisbane, and he started it just with the bass player. So they're the two original members of the band, and they've been going years and years now. They have several EPs and an album before I joined with the last album that we recorded together, and so I'm pretty sure actually Jay came the name about from a drink that he had in somewhere in Southern America or Mexico. And it's called Snakebite Whiskey, and it's actually got like a snake inside the bottle, and apparently it's just potent as. So yeah, he ended up having these drinks with these locals, and thought it was a sick name for a band. So
Definitely, no, for sure, it is a very sick name for a band. I was delighted. So it's like the tequila with the worm, more or less.
More or less, yeah, but it's a whiskey with like a cobra inside of it.
That's mad, man.
Apparently it can be poisonous. Sometimes it's not. It's a bit of a delicacy, I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure I got a photo of the bottle as well, and it looks incredible. Like it's like this full cobra standing up inside this whiskey bottle that's surrounded in whiskey. So
excellent. If you can send us that photo, it'd be good to put that on the intro.
Yep.
To the show.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah, I can definitely send it to you, man.
It's fine.
Sorry, the kids are just being.
It's all right. Have a drink. You there, mate? I've lost your audio. There
How about that?
That's better.
Sorry, mate. So what was on the stereo when no, right? Stop chucking a mental. Grow up.
He just hit me!
All right. So my 15-year-old's been a 15-year-old. She's just yes, darling. She's
Stop distributing again!
she's just chucking a mental, man. This is not good.
Nah, it's all good.
We'll get over it in a second. It'll be right. Okay. So what was playing at home on the stereo when you were growing up?
So my mum was a huge Rolling Stones fan. Like anything with Mick Jagger in it was just her top notch. Grew up on a lot of that, Led Zeppelin, Kiss. She was a massive Kiss fan. Like pretty much every Brisbane show they've ever played. She even went to the last one, a couple months ago. So a lot of rock and roll. I mean, it's funny because I diverse myself in so many other genres of music, but my traditional bringing up have always come from 80s and 90s rock and roll. So
Yeah, no, that's it. I'm a big The Finals fan myself.
Oh, how good.
Yeah, like if I and a lot of people have disagreed with this, but if I was to pick the grandmother of Australian punk, I'd pick Chrissy. Even though they weren't classed as a punk band, I think with the lyrical, the stage antics, I think
Yep.
everything she was in that. She brought that scene up. You know,
That's
like
exactly right. Yeah.
there was only like depression, fucking World War 24 at that stage. There was only like male orientated punk shit, and
Yep.
and she did, and okay, she went commercialized, but that happens. That happens with
Yep.
a lot of bands.
Yep.
But why this genre? Why'd you pick this genre?
So I luckily got the chance to audition for Snakebite when they were looking for a drummer before their UK tour. So their drummer actually quit just before the Europe and UK tour. So I saw that there was an opening for a rock and roll band. I thought, that's right up my alley. I'd just come out of uni. I was ready to take on a bigger adventure in my life, and it just got to the point where I was able to slot into something that not just I loved, but the boys loved as well. And I actually, the first time I played with them was on a stage in Belgium. So it was, I didn't even meet the singer till I was at the airport to fly to Antwerp. So, but we had such a great time and a great experience touring over there that I decided to stay and kept writing and playing music with them. And we're still doing it today.
So why this genre? Why did you pick this genre?
It's just been always an influence of mine. And when it comes to drumming, I love playing, fast. I love playing stuff like rock and roll and punk. And I think that not just that, but rock and roll does fit a lot into punk as well. Like in its own similarities, like it definitely emerged from some sort of, aggressive rock that people wanted to make statements about instead of looking pretty on stage. And I think that's kind of so I think they all find hand in hand with each other. And I mean, just playing rock and roll is just one of the funnest things. You get to really open up, and not just that, crazy good guitar solos and stuff you get to feed off, and it's just it's a great environment, man. And sure. the scene's great too. It's not something you realize, but Australia does have a rock and roll scene. It's not very big or well known anymore, but it's starting to pick back up, and there is starting to be some actual rock and roll talent coming out of Australia and going other places.
So, do you see where do you see Snakebite in the future?
So just at the moment, we are working on. I think we're working on recording a Christmas single. So we're going to do I think, a lot of rock and roll bands and big rock and roll bands love to do their own renditions of, a Christmas single in some sort of sleaze manner and stuff like that. So we just signed up with Black Ruse Entertainment, which is a managing label and everything. So we've just signed a deal with them. So they'll be, supporting and obviously booking shows for us for the next year. So we have hopes of going to New Zealand again and doing New Zealand because we love there. And hopefully a few interstate ones again too, maybe Sydney and Melbourne and Adelaide again. So
excellent. Are you doing anything you playing this weekend at all?
I played last night with KTO, so I'm a little bit dusty excellent. This morning.
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing an offshoot to this show called Sharing a Drink with Matt, the album review.
Yep.
And KTO actually have done the intro and outro song.
Yes, I recorded that for you the other week. Yes.
Yeah, that was pathetic. Perfect. Sorry. Wait a sec. Right. Sorry, mate. Family issues.
Listen to all that.
No, He didn't listen to all that. Now he's listening because I just took fucking the sound
Look
back
at
on. So anyway,
Okay,
this is
yeah,
not
it's
usually a
fine.
happening thing. Yeah.
Fuck off. See you later.
Have you got that situation that you've ever had where you don't want to do this thing as a career, or you know you've thought, well, fuck it, this is not for me. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool question. Obviously, especially for a musician, I think we all get to that point in some point of our life. But I think the passion and the drive to continue to do what you love, and not just that, like some of us, we just can't not be performers or songwriters or, you know, on stage performing music for people. And I think, yeah, the people that still do it after 10, 20, 30 years are the people that literally just can't live without it. You know, we always get to the points where we're like, you know, we've just worked so hard on an album and you release it and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? I thought this was going to really punch someone, like, but then, you know, you kind of get a bit disheartened, but then, you know, you reflect on what you've done and you've achieved so much to even be able to do that. And you realize that your passion is always in that. And I think that's what keeps the fire burning always. Like, yeah, just that extreme passion to want to keep creating and writing and playing and performing. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah, totally agree with that. Do you play covers?
no. So even with Snakebite, we do one cover, and we do "It's So Easy" by Guns N' Roses, obviously, because it's
Wow.
such a banging track. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we do that cover. We throw it into a set here and there, you know, depending on how we're feeling and how the crowd's feeling, etc. But I mean, with now 4 EPs and 2 albums, we have so much to choose from. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've listened to a bit. Like I in the last week, I've kind of like Googled jizz
yep,
and tried to do as much research as I can. I know your drummer's a KDO drummer.
yes.
Is it? Yeah. How like do you get a gig and then I can't even remember his name. That's how fucking stressed I am. And your drummer goes, I'm playing tonight, but we can't do that. I've already got a gig that night. Does
Yeah,
that
so
happen much?
I
Because a lot of people are doing it now, being in
Yes.
more than one band.
yeah, I'm actually the only member in Snakebite that does play in another band. But we all live in different cities, and our guitarist lives in a different state. He's actually in Newcastle down near you guys. So it is hard to, you know, but in saying that too, I've been able to really work around that as well. Like, and both bands have been very understanding of, you know what I mean? Like my schedule and what I have booked in, et cetera, et cetera. And I try and give, you know, the best to both worlds. I mean, it is difficult sometimes. Obviously, there's some things you have to, you know, redecide or re-talk about. But yeah, I guess it's so much fun playing in so many genres of music that I just love it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could do either KTO or Snakebite, you know, solely and wholly, but I love playing music. So every opportunity I can to be a part of something that's not just, you know, me rocking up playing something that's someone else's music, but, you know, KTO and Snakebite are, you know, they're both families of mine that I love to work with and create with. So I think once you have that, like, you don't want to let it go.
Oh, for sure. 100%. What are you drinking?
Scotch.
Oh, it's straight.
Yeah.
Ah,
I played last night. I only got home at 4 a.m.
how was that?
It was great.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really good. We played a benefit show, a charity show in Brisbane.
Okay.
And yeah, the turnout was excellent. The support was excellent. The bands were even better. And the whole crew and organisers that ran the event just did an absolutely amazing job. Like, everything was on point, on time. There was just no hassles whatsoever. It was a really great night.
Yeah, I was just talking to the Combi Killers.
Yes.
They're from up there. They were actually just, they mentioned a benefit gig.
Yep.
They weren't on that bill, or
No, they weren't. No, this was
That must have
Rock
been something
Sisters, so it was all female fronted bands. So
okay.
yeah,
Okay. Have you heard of Spitting Teeth?
no,
I think they're from you guys. They were the last band I interviewed in season 3.
yeah,
And it was a female vocalist. She like anyway, yeah, that's going off onto another tangent. But yeah, they were all female fronted bands. Like
that's really
great.
cool. Yeah, yeah,
How was that band? Because when I speak to female fronting bands and I talk about them, and they say that they've just done a fucking gig with all male bands. Like, how was that having a female like?
Yeah, I mean, like Liz would probably, have a lot better insight on this, but I think, bands have been such a male-dominant industry, and it's not like anyone shunted females out necessarily, but they've never given them the opportunity to shine like a male-fronted band can. So to have such great musicians throughout the scene, no matter what genre or genre you are, I think it's really empowering because you get to see and showcase a lot of talent that was basically put aside for many years. So yeah, I think it's such a positive message, and it's a great vibe to be a part of because I think there's nothing better to support than just everyone being confident within their scene. Well,
because I was speaking to when I did the interview with Spitting Teeth, I was speaking to the female singer, and she said, and I said, how is it as okay? You've got a lot of you got the mothers, that was a female fronted band, punk band. Have a nice day, all those kind of things. And I was asking her how was it to fit into a really dominated male genre kind of thing.
Yes.
She goes, well, when I was growing up, there was no clit in the pit. And I thought that is just a fucking dead set amazing statement because that's what it was like.
Yeah.
That's what it was like,
Yep.
Definitely.
And nowadays it's great to see such activity from, both genders and everything being accepted to and not just that, I've been in a few pits lately that the women are throwing down way harder and hurting me way more. So, I mean, it's great to see such energy and passion for just music in general. And that's where it comes down to. Everyone deserves to have a passion and a right to love and, party onto music. So, why the hell not?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, mate. My puppy's just acting like the biggest fuckwit at the moment. They've just got its head stuck in a fucking cup. Have you got a genre of music you just fucking cannot listen to?
I can never do country, not matter what shape or form it ever comes in. Can't do it.
Hey, do you agree that there's a gem in every genre of music, bud? Do you agree that there is some
the only gem I can find in country music is probably Johnny Cash.
Which is
but I mean, someone singing about their dog and how they lost their wife, and you know what I mean. I can't do that shit, right? Yeah.
It is. It's something. I actually it was funny. I was going through YouTube the other day and I came across Casey Chambers.
Yep.
And it was live, but she did Eminem's Losing It.
That would have been pretty cool, actually.
It was fucking excellent, man. The whole first 8 minutes was just her on banjo.
Yeah, okay.
And the rest of the band just fucking came into it.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant, man. And
I'll have to check this out. That sounds like a good time.
Casey Chambers Losing It, man. It's fucking brilliant.
Right.
And I'm not a country fan myself. I hate exactly the whole thing. My boyfriend stole my wife. My best friend stole my wife. My dog's dead. The youth broke down.
Yeah, but, the all commercial generic country. Yeah.
Yeah. What you're okay with the hip hop genre?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any records that are hip hop, nor do I. But I mean, in terms of people like, think of 90s bands like Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit and, all the rest that really made, I guess, hip hop such a cultural thing to a lot of genres. Like, that's what was cool about it. And that's what I still love about it, I guess. Like, and there's still bands like Turnstile and stuff like that that are doing the same thing. Like, so yeah, I love that element, but not just that. Like, they're great songwriters and musicians in themselves. So I don't think I can knock a musician for being creative and who they are.
Oh, for
I mean,
sure.
well, yeah, sometimes I won't, definitely go, oh, it's going to be something I put on and have a jam to. But yeah, you can definitely find their aspects throughout their creative process and what they actually display of themselves. So
definitely. Well, Tex Perkins in The Cruel Sea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
And you can even put Nick Cave has done some country shit.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah. You've got the opportunity to put out a 5-band gig. Who would those 5 bands be? And it doesn't matter if they've broken up, died, or whatever. Who would your 5-band?
Oh, that's a good one.
It is.
I'd probably. I'd start with. See, I've never seen Rage Against the Machine live. I'd absolutely love to one day, but never had the opportunity or chance. So that would be one I'd put on the list. The other one I'd put on would be, probably The Used.
Okay.
I've seen them live once or twice, and
That's never been brought up.
they were absolutely awesome. So definitely put them on the list. Third would be AC/DC, only because definitely with Bon Scott.
With Bon Scott, yep.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity or chance to ever see Bon Scott, so doing that would be a great opportunity. Then I'd probably put on Van Halen, only because, I'd love some really, really cool guitar work and, how much they do. Yeah. And the last one, I'd probably, I'd put on Limp Bizkit, only because I love Wes as a guitarist and some of his actual work and ability to take hip hop to the level that he did with his guitar tones and crunches and really, really good vibe. I definitely love too. So
excellent. Yeah, no, that's a good. I'd go to that gig. I would.
Oh yeah,
I would. What have you? In your opinion, do you think that the Australian music scene? Do you think you guys have been given a bad rap? Like, now that the internet and Spotify and all that sort of shit, and $1.20 a song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think your genre of music that you guys play has been the hardest hit, or?
I definitely think so, only because, I mean, rock and roll was, it's such a pride to sell an album or a record and really get involved that way with it all. But yeah, rock and roll is a culture that I don't think thrives sorry, I'm just dropping my cat inside. I don't think it thrives or really created much of a world like things of, R&B and stuff did on things like Spotify and iTunes. Like with Snakebite, there's still the most times we get played and the most times that we actually sell records is through our merch store, which is all obviously CD sales. So
yeah, definitely. What's my favorite gig you've ever played?
Playing in Scotland was probably one of the best ones. Scotland was absolutely beautiful, and they had we played in Edinburgh one night and then Glasgow the other, and the scenery and just the whole venue and the vibe there was just top notch. So but anywhere in the UK and Europe was great. But I mean, we've played so many shows with so many great bands and in so many cool places that it's hard to even pick one because there's just so many good times that I've had no matter where. So
yeah. Has there been a gig that you've been on the bill and everything, and it's just like, what the fuck were they thinking putting us on that bill?
yes, yep. I've been on bills like that as well. And I mean, most of those times as well, like you still want to rock up and just do you. And you hope that even one person that is there, feels what you're putting out or feels the energy and the excitement and the passion that you have for your music. So, I mean, we've been put on, being a sleaze rock band, it's pretty hard to find a full lineup of sleaze rock bands that just play around all the time together. So, we've been thrown on with some, other genres that are, maybe not even close to the ballpark, but everyone seems to still love and get along with because we played a festival in Adelaide and it was pretty much like we'll call it like a metal and thrash festival, we're only rock and roll band on the bill. So it was pretty hard to find our spot, but everyone loves it because that little bit of change because I think sleaze rock it's pretty close to thrash in terms of the way it can be articulated, but it's obviously not 7-string guitars that are completely fucking everywhere. So my cat's out too. Could you
Yes. Can you?
I've done a bit of research. I've listened to a couple of the songs, and you can be put into the punk scene. You can be, a guy picking bands would put you on that scene. What is the worst? Like when you've gone, have you had situations where you've gone up on stage and there's a bunch of guys there with cowboy hats? Have you been put on a gig like that where you shouldn't have been? It was just ridiculous.
No, I wouldn't have even showed up to the show if there was a bunch of cowboy hats around me. So I live in a city that has too many of them around all the time. So
So who writes the songs?
Jay writes most of the songs, but it's been a pretty big collaboration between all of us. But it depends what process we have, because some of the writing process comes.
Your sound's not.
It's pissing me off. So if I hear
Oh, can you just stop, please?
No.
That doesn't.
Sorry, man, I can't hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
you just went quiet for a second there. You were talking, but I couldn't hear.
Oh,
Yeah. What's the best bit of advice that you've had as a musician, like getting into the music scene, the rock scene? What's the best bit of advice, and is that the advice you would give a band that's just starting up?
I think the best advice I could give is just go with your passion and go with what you love and what you grew up with. And it doesn't, 100% matter what you want to do or actually, what scene you want to be in. But I think just being yourself and going for it in any way you can is definitely the advice I give to anyone, because music's such a great way to express yourself in so many different ways. So yeah, and there's not many rock and roll bands out there, so yeah, bring on some more. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I have to keep muting because I've got a 15-year-old that's going through 15-year-oldness. It's like that. Um, sorry about this, man. It's not usually like this. This will all be edited out. All the bad bits will be edited out. The interview will be fine. Don't worry. Just
No,
I've
it's
got
all good,
a
man.
daughter that's just chucking the fucking biggest tantrum at the moment. Like that. Before you go on stage, have you, Chase? Stop it. Sorry, mate. Stop harassing your sister. Just leave her alone at the moment, please. Sorry, I'm
No,
sorry,
you're right, mate.
Like it's not. It is just intense. What was it like with the band and everything? Being music. What did the COVID do? What was that? Did that hit you as hard or?
Oh, that hit Snakebite actually really hard because we just got back from a UK tour, and we had obviously we had America tour planned pretty much, a couple months after we got back, and it was by that February that COVID hit, so we had to obviously cancel our whole American tour, which was disheartening because it took us so long to get to plan and involved with. So it actually helped us a little bit because instead of doing America and stuff, we thought, okay, well, we can just work in the studio, and that's where Black Candy came from. So we recorded Black Candy, that album, pretty much through COVID, and then we released it, in COVID as well. So it was actually good once it all dropped to be able to get to a point where we could actually showcase and play that album live again, because most people would obviously, knew we threw out a new album and the film clips were coming out and everything was working really well, but we wanted to be able to play that and tour that. So it was great once COVID got lifted, because we did a whole Australian tour. So we did, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and a few other places as well. And it was, great. So it was hard, but I think a lot of bands adapted to COVID and went, you know what, if we can't play music, well, let's write music. And that's why I think so many new albums came out from so many bands you'd never think you were going to hear an album from again, because COVID happened. So we got, a new Limp Bizkit album, we got, a new Slipknot album, and, all the rest that, kept flowing on because people were like, oh, well, we might as well just record instead of touring. And I think it was a good time for bands to try and adapt to, what we can do without being in front of someone. Like, a lot of bands are putting on, live performances through Zoom and, selling tickets that way. And it made the whole community of musicians get not just creative, but thinking outside the box of how we can get people to still appreciate, hear, and showcase our music to them. So
Sorry, mate, I've got to unmute every time we.
No, you're right.
You're right. This. Have you got a favourite venue that you like playing at?
Yeah, I love playing at a venue in Brisbane called Tomcats. We actually, Snakebite Whisky filmed the Last Man Standing video at Tomcats, and we had our album launch there as well. And it's a great venue. They're great people. The venue's just, looks super cool. Like there's just, great artwork and tags everywhere. And the whiskey's cheap and the beer's even better. So
is there a venue that like you get a call saying, we're playing at this tonight or something, and it's a venue that you don't like? Have you got a venue that you just don't like playing at?
Not really. I mean, there is venues that is an absolute prick to load in with if you got drums and stuff, and there's other venues that have tiny areas and stuff like that. There's even some venues that probably won't even allow Snakebite to play there again. It just depends. The Snakebite show is one high octane, alcohol fueled fun time.
Excellent.
We always like to put on a show. We always like to do what we love to do, which is drink, fucking rock. So
And so did you have a gig on this weekend or?
Yeah, I played last night, but Snakebite's not playing. Yeah, so Snakebite's next show is actually at the moment on New Year's Eve. So we're doing a New Year's Eve festival at the Back Room, Brisbane. There's a heap of bands.
Yeah.
We're lucky enough to play at one of those spots on the page. So if you're in Brisbane or anywhere close to Queensland, you want to have a fun night at New Year's and listen to some great Brisbane talent, then pretty much every Brisbane band's on that bill. So
excellent. No, I'm down Wollongong.
yeah,
too far me to travel. But I went to a gig on New Year's Eve once. Back then, I think it was '87, and it was the Stupids, the Hard-Ons, the Bad Ronalds, and I even think that it was at East Leagues Club in Brisbane, right? Yeah, it's great. Queensland do that a lot, and it's like there's a lot of Queensland bands that go to Sydney. Well, they used to go to Sydney to get where they wanted to go, but they didn't, And I've heard that Queensland's actually got a good scene now. That you guys, you don't have to migrate to New South Wales or Melbourne to be. I think the Queensland scene, especially rock and roll too, is doing well. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, punk rock and indie is really thriving in Brisbane right now. There is, such a supportive community and scene for it right now too, which is actually surprising because, the Valley's always been supportive of live music and original music, but it's getting to the point where, tickets are being sold left, right, and centre for, shows that will happen next to each other every night. So you can pretty much just pick your genre or pick a few genres for the night and walk between everyone's shows. So, because we had people, that would drop in for, oh, you there? Yeah, there you are. We had people that would drop in for a little bit, last night, and then they'd track on to see another band's performance that they really wanted to see, and then they'd go to another place and see them. And, so it's good that everything's so tight-knitted and close that it gives, so many options to punters to be able to have one of the best nights they can, because there's just so much great music going on right now. I even finished the show last night and went and saw another band because there was another band playing after I finished, and I was like, I'm going to go, you know what I mean? So you get to, and you can just walk there, take a beer, walk there and keep going. So
exactly.
Brisbane's come a long way, I think, and it's only going to get better, because you're right, Sydney and Melbourne were the places for bands that we had to go there, especially Melbourne and Sydney, they were two of the only places where you could get, a good show with a good turnout, with a good, respectable crowd that is there for good music, So.
Well, really, the poor didn't really make it until they went to Sydney. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like working really hard in Queensland to get a name, but and that's what it used to be like.
Yeah, but what happened from the 70s and the 80s? Because rock and roll was massive in Australia. AC/DC kind of put that rock and roll on the map. But late 70s and all through the 80s, music and rock and roll and punk and everything was thriving. So it's good to see it all come back around again,
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Do you with the other band members playing in other bands, do you think that there is a future with Snakebite Whisky, or is do you feel that the other members are just this is their
That's
kind
a
of
good question, actually, and that's something I haven't really thought about too hard. I haven't, ever really diced the question whether it would be one way or the other. I think both bands that, I work with and play with have great potential to do amazing jobs in both their genres, and if it was up to me, I hope both get as successful as they deserve, because, everyone in those bands have worked really hard to become where we are now. So, I'm hopeful. Like, I'd never choose one over the other though. Like, I love the Snakebite guys just as much as I love the KTO guys, and I'll always try and they're the two bands that no matter what, I'm always going to be there for. So
No, he made bruise on my.
Sorry, mate. Like, this has become so unprofessional because of this. But
it's all good.
yeah, no, I really, it won't come out like the
Oh no. But life is life, brother.
Yeah. I'm actually going to see some bands tonight, which is good. I got that break away from the kids, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And
but
my
no,
wife
and not just that, thank you. Thank you to you for always reaching out to bands and keeping, interviews and things that, should be quite, a good way to insight into bands' lives and, what we are passionate for and what we do. And for you to, be someone that loves to share that information and also contain that information is, it's a real blessing, because, every little bit that every person does in the scene makes it better for anyone else, like.
Yeah. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much.
I really, because you've obviously done interviews with myself and KTO, and you've picked up an interest in Snakebite, and it's really cool to see that there's still people in this industry that love to have a chat and love to have an interview and love to get to know someone and what their processes are, just because everyone can see a band and go, yeah, that song's great, they play great, but they don't know the ins and outs of how they either got to that or why they're even doing that. Like,
exactly.
So it's good to give that perspective to people, and I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. That's great, and that's one. Like, this show is not going to make a cent, and I know that
doesn't need to.
The show's not going to make a cent.
Yeah.
All I want to do is let people know, as you said, that this is not just a band standing up on the stage.
Yeah.
These are real people that that
have invested a lot of time and effort and money into what they want to create. Like, that's exactly right. And getting to know a band on a level like that is, it's weight is worth in gold. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Because I've watched, other interviews with you with other bands and stuff, and I like hearing what their processes are and what they've come to and why they, you know what I mean? So you get to have insight with so many other bands that, and not just that, I've found so many bands just because of your interviews. So I'm able to go, oh, I haven't heard them. I'll put, put a song on, and then I'm like, yeah, that's sick. Like, so.
Yeah, definitely. And me doing this show, I've come across bands that I never ever knew. And like, it's been excellent. Like, my song list, since I started doing this show, I've got a song list on my phone that's tripled.
Yeah, right.
Show. Like, I've got to listen to these guys. I've got an interview with them.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to listen to these guys, and then I've listened to it and I've gone, yeah, I fucking dig that, and I've put songs on my song list, and and it's been great for me doing this, because I've found, like, put it this way, if I was sitting down at home and a thing comes up on Facebook, Snakebite Whisky are playing tonight down at the closest pub, I probably wouldn't have gone.
Exactly.
But Snakebite Whisky. I remember the interview. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to that.
I remember that song that I liked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And Okay, what? And the kids are just fucked my head. Like, is I think I've oh god, now it's just gone to the end of it. What we're going? Okay, I want to know about Snakebite Whisky. Can we talk? And this is unprofessional, but I really have to do. I've got to go to the toilet, do a piss.
Yeah.
Can you just have a bit of a spiel about Snakebite
Yep.
Whisky while I just go and wee?
100%, mate. Yeah. So Snakebite Whisky are, we're a sleaze rock band. We've been around throughout Brisbane and the rest of the, now world, doing what we love and writing good rock and roll and sending the image of what we want to do and what we love and what we're influenced by. Like, we love so many bands like Motorhead and Faster Pussycat and stuff like that that have pretty much shaped what we need to do now. So now that the few albums are out and everything seems to be working really well, it's time to get back on the road, I guess, and definitely retour. And we just got a new guitarist that is absolute fire. So we are looking forward to getting back on the road and, hitting up New Zealand and the rest of Australia again and doing what we love, which is sharing Australian rock and roll to the world. So, I can't. I don't even really know.
Hey, we're back. All right. So I've lost you.
You've lost me. I'm here.
Oh no. Now you're back on.
Yeah.
I think we're on because of Zoom. Sometimes the pitch only comes up of the person who's talking.
Oh yeah. I can see both ears. Oh, I can't see the other guy now, but
yeah. Oh mate, this show wouldn't have done shit if it was because I don't know if you watched anything of the interviews, but like if it was up to me, if it was left in my hands, I wouldn't have been able to do the interviews and put them out the way they've been put out. But yeah. Have you got a creative process when you're going into the studio? Like
definitely
writing songs?
Yeah. I mean, we've always walked into the studio with quite a plan, I guess, and we've always worked with either producer or record label, which has been super handy throughout the whole thing. So we always have something to, work our ideas off and fall back on if we do get, quite, we'll call it recording studio disagreements. Oh, my charger just fell out. But we always go in there with quite a strict plan and idea of what we want to do. Obviously, some things do get changed in the studio when you're working and producing, but we've always been super stoked and super happy with what we've come out with. Black Candy was I think it was great work from all of us. We wrote that album and I think it was only 5 months it took us to write the album and record it. So it was really good work from everyone that was involved.
Yep. Excellent. So you're saying you haven't got a gig coming up until New Year's, you were saying?
For Snakebite at the moment, but just signing with Black Ruse and all their entertainment. Like we know there's a few shows that are coming up that we'd definitely love to get onto, and hopefully they can have that opportunity for us. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. But that's the next one that's booked in. But there's I think is it Faster Pussycat or Nashville Pussy? They're touring here in I think end of November, and we've put our names down to obviously fill that support slot and do Brisbane, Melbourne City and Adelaide with them. So hopefully we get thrown onto that. We did Hardcore Superstar last time they came over.
Okay.
So, and that was in Brisbane. So yeah, we love jumping on international rock and roll acts that come over because it's a great opportunity. Like,
and you've got that opportunity too that they might say, "Hey, come back over with us."
yes,
You know what I mean?
I mean, Snakebite's played at the Whiskey Go Go. Yeah, like they did a thing called Cruise Fest, which we're trying to get back onto next year. And Cruise Fest is pretty much just it's a massive rock and roll festival they put on throughout America with all these different stops, and yeah, you get to play some crazy good places in front of some crazy good crowds. So yeah, like it's surreal what you can do in the rock and roll industry, because I mean I watched, you know, Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and stuff playing the Whiskey a Go Go fucking before I even knew what they were, you know what I mean? And to walk up on the same stage and in the same venue and stuff like that is it's mind-blowing. Like, it is insane.
Hey, Blondie played at Whiskey a Go Go.
Well, they were the resident band there. Like,
yeah, exactly. You know, like, imagine. I know exactly what you're saying. Imagine knowing that, you know, even Iggy Pop, knowing that Steve Jones was standing where you were standing.
Yeah, or even that, you know, they've done some crazy things in that green room you don't even want to speak of, and you're standing in that green room going, what has actually happened here through the years of rock and roll and the years of, you know, bands coming through here and just being a part of this scene. Like, without places like that, I don't think we'd be where we are with rock and roll now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but do you get like a variety or you know, do you get punks coming to see you guys? Are headliners, say, just at a small venue or something? Do you get punks coming to the gigs? Do you?
Yeah, I mean, like, Snakebite likes to. We do organise most of the shows that we do play, so we are able to give you know, some rock and roll bands that are in the States that we're going to the chance to be on a rock and roll bill and, you know, really thrive from the core of the rock and roll scene. And not just that, we've met some great sleaze bands throughout, you know, Melbourne and Adelaide and Victoria that we've had the chance to play with, and especially in the States and stuff like that, in the UK. But Australia alone, like, we like to give as much rock and roll chance to everyone that comes on our bill. Like, but I mean, we've also played with indie bands and, you know, stuff like that before. But, you know, I think as long as it's got loud electric guitar and loud drums and some sort of presence on the vocals, you're pretty sweet.
Hey, even with like COVID kind of thing, there was a stage there in COVID where I was thinking I'd actually go and see the Wiggles right now just to see.
I nearly did the same thing, to be honest, Matt.
I would actually go see the Wiggles just so I could be at a live act.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, you know?
Well, they did that adults only show in Brisbane, which was really cool.
I really never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Wiggles did a segment for the kids during the day, and then they did an adults only show. So it was 18 plus, full of piss and everything like that. And it went fucking off. Like,
Well, I remember seeing them at the Playroom on the Gold Coast. I remember seeing, it wasn't the Wiggles, it was a band called, oh my God, this is the 80s, so I'm going back. What were they called? They sang that, she's a one. The Cockroaches.
Yes.
The Cockroaches. That's the Wiggles. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, when they did, as you were saying, they did an 18 overs gig. Do you think they probably did some Cockroaches shit in there or something?
Well, I think they definitely would. And not just that, I think it all spruiked as well because they obviously won Triple J's Top 100 with that cover they did for like a version.
Yep.
And I think that's what kind of, kicked it all off for their Australian 18 plus versions. But not just that, they're a timeless band. Like, I know we're sitting here as a rock and roll interview talking about the Wiggles now, but I mean, like, they're a timeless band that, I mean, we all had rumors that Kiss were going to replace Kiss members with other members to keep the Kiss name and stuff like that, which I thought was just terrible. But like,
did you guys see Kiss this time?
no, I didn't. No, my mum went. The only reason I didn't go is because it was like way expensive for the worst seat, for one. Like, I mean, they definitely charge you through the roof, like. And I did see some, like, I don't want to, bad name any fucking band or anything, but I saw a little bit of things that were like, oh, are they actually playing, or is this just another stage performance? Like, am I getting theatrics, or am I getting
on the other stage?
Yeah.
Like, was that Paul Stanley, or was that just some guy dressed up as him?
Well, I mean, I saw this thing, and like Paul Stanley completely missed his mic cue, and you could hear the backing track in the background pretty much singing his whole melody, and I was just like, oh, come on, like,
and his wig coming off, like, he's got short hair, his wig fell off. Like, I remember my mum took me and my sister to see Kiss in 1980 up at Festival Hall,
and they would have been amazing.
It was, but I was 11 years old, so my sister was able to get out the. This is one reason. This is the reason why I didn't want to see Kiss this time. No outdoor gig. How can you go see a band like that? That's what they're known for. They're
pyrotechs and
that's what they were known for. And every gig they played in Australia was an indoor gig.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw him in 1980. I've actually got a shirt. It says I was there, Kiss 1980. And
that's cool, yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw him, and Gene Simmons got stuck flying across the stage. But I was this
with the God of Thunder thing.
Yeah. And I was this 11-year-old with fucking, my mum made me, because she's a nurse, she made me wear earplugs. So I was sitting there with earplugs in, watching I was
Gene
in the
hang from a.
It was sad,
you would have been sitting there going, "Is that guy okay?"
But and I saw Bon Scott. My mum loved.
Don't make me jealous now, Matt. Like,
oh no, but I was 7. I saw AC/DC play on a raft in Sydney Harbour.
Is this the show that you could never find a poster or information for, but you remember going to it? I think we had this conversation once before, Yeah, and you remember everything about the show, but when you went back to try and find any sort of identification for it, you couldn't find it.
Exactly. Like, the thing about
and
the
didn't John Paul Jones? John Paul Young play.
Yeah, it was John Paul Young. It was Ted Mowry game.
Yep.
And I was only 7 at the time. I can remember seeing the boat go over to the thing.
Yeah.
And I can remember Angus doing a brown eye at the end of the gig. They're just the things I can remember. And it was actually Channel 7 Family Day.
Do you remember like what roughly year it was?
Well, I was 78.
Yeah, so that would have been just after they released Dirty Deeds, really, because they released that in 76. So,
I don't even remember if it was AC/DC then John Paul Young. I don't remember who actually headlined it.
Well, John Paul Young he's always been massive because of the Countdown concerts and everything like that. Like, and not just that, like, he's fucking great. Like, I've seen John Paul Young live at the Countdown where I saw Hush, and Hush are good too. No, Rush, sorry. Yeah, Rush.
Yeah, the Rush were mad. They were great.
He had like fireworks coming out of his guitar, and he was just like pointing it around and shooting. Oh, it was super sick. Like,
that was. I remember it was at the Playroom. It was a reunion gig. I think it was only one gig in the whole of Australia, but it was at the Playroom, and it was Chain backed up Rush.
Oh,
I think it was 88 or 89, so I was like 20 years old or something. And yeah, and like I'd only ever heard Mum playing Rush. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't the band that the kind of shit I got into, because I've been in Australian punk since I was 13. That was when it
That was
really
your jam. Yeah.
Yeah. But I loved the Divinals, and I loved the Radiators, and I loved
Yeah.
the Angels.
Yeah.
I loved Cold Chisel, and
Yeah.
and then I started listening to Australian punk, and I thought, this is just rock and roll anyway. But you just get a bit more boppy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get a higher tempo, you get a little bit of a shorter verse and shorter shit, and it's straight to the point, rock and roll.
Yep.
Like, yeah, like, and I mean, it's come so far, like it really has. Like, but not just that. Like, I wish the scene was like it used to be. Like, you know, you're talking about '78, where some of the biggest bands played on a boat, literally, where with a gig you can never find again. Like, you know, that's what the scene was, because these bands weren't AC/DC. They were AC/DC, but you know, they just released their second, third album. You know what I mean? They're still pretty low key. I mean, they blew up when they hit America, obviously, because everyone's like, hey, this is exactly what we've been listening to with a great Australian accent. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
With those simple chords and just, you know, just rocking opens and major chords. Like,
Oh, definitely. Have you ever heard of G.G. Allen?
Yes.
Yeah, look, he called himself a rock and roll star, like a rock and roll artist. And you listen to everything, and everything is done would fall in the category of punk. You know what I mean? And I thought, no, you're not fucking a rock and roll artist, you're punk. But these days, and I think this is really good, there's not much difference between the two.
No, there's not. And I can say that pretty well, only because I play drums in both genres.
Exactly.
And I'm able to use and adapt both genres entwined with each other. Like, you know, the fills are very similar. Yes, punk is probably, you know, it's a little bit of a different composure in terms of the music, but in terms of that skill and that technique that you can use throughout both genres, it's all there. Like, it's not like you're playing rock and roll and then you're playing jazz. Like, you know, you're not swinging it around and carrying on. Even though my uni teacher was such a jazz drummer, like,
jazz. I think jazz and rock and roll are pretty much entwined.
Oh, definitely. Well, rock and roll had to come from jazz, like
100%.
Pretty much everything came from jazz, like
It's like I saw a thing on YouTube, and it was these three punk guys. One had mohawk, the other had spikes and all that. And walking through a supermarket, and there's this old man playing on the piano. And this punk guy with a mohawk sits down with him and starts playing on the piano as well. And one of the other guys starts singing. And it was fucking magic, man. And it was these punks, this blues guy on a fucking piano playing rock.
Yeah.
It was just and it all came out, like it all the three genres together sounded amazing. And like that's what I'm saying. There's not much difference. You've got guys that will listen to day in, day out, Dead Kennedys, you know, Sepultura even, like all the way along there, that will go to a Motley Crue show.
Yeah.
That will go, you know, they'll go to a Guns N' Roses show.
Yeah.
And you've got guys with long hair and you know, and rock people that loved rock, that love Motley Crue, that love Skid Row, that love all those bands, that will go to a heavy punk show.
Yes. Yeah, it's right up their alley. Like,
And have you found that playing live? Like
I have. I've been able to play in, you know, metal genres, thrash genres, punk genres, with rock and roll and everything, and it's been, yeah,
Yep.
it's actually great to see what people can do with the music that they love. So
Yeah, yeah. And it's the like you've got like, and then you've got Machine Gun Kelly that's gone from rap.
stop it.
Yeah, I know. I've one song I really dig of his, but you've got him. He went from rap supposedly to punk. It's not punk. He's gone from rap to rock. But
Well, now he's gone back to rap apparently, so
yeah.
he can't make up his fucking mind. Like,
I think that's just to piss Eminem off or something. I don't know.
probably, yeah.
I think he's going, okay, I'm the better
Well, he
rapper.
started a
Fuck
whole
you.
riot with the metal community, so he's in a bad way. Like,
Yeah. Oh, did you see him at the music awards? And he had a syringe hanging out his ear as an earring.
no,
A syringe full of blood. It was like, you know, and then they got a photo of Megan Fox licking the syringe. Going, it was like, come on, man, what do you know?
well,
Like
I didn't see that. Yeah,
No, I'll look it up on YouTube. Go MGK Music Awards, the syringe or something.
Yeah,
You'll
I
get
will.
it. It'll come up, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, you fucked at both genres. You're not a good rapper. You're not a good fucking rock and roller. You know what I mean? There's one song that I'll listen to, but I reckon there's a gem in every genre of music. There will be gems.
Yeah, well, we've already
Oh, man.
established that with country. Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 years' time, where are you going to be? Where do you
5
want
years?
to be? What do you hope you're at?
I hope I'm still doing exactly what I am doing. I don't know, I've kind of reached beyond what I thought I could do with music, I guess. Just being able to play music in front of two people was always my dream, but to play it in not just other states and countries, but all around the world is it's something I never thought I'd ever achieve, if that makes sense. And to be able to do that on such a platform that, I don't know, it's a crazy world, because when you love music and you want to get into it, you always start at the bottom, obviously, and then you can be a great band or a great artist for years and years and years, and no one will know what you do or really care about what you are doing. But I hope I'm just still doing exactly what I'm doing now. I've achieved everything I've more than hoped for in music and with my career. So if I can just keep doing me and keep writing and loving music and performing, then I'm happy as Larry.
I've put out I totally agree with what you're saying. I put out 17 interviews. I've got comments saying you've got to make the interview an hour. Like, no one wants to listen to an hour and a half interview, blah, blah, blah. So thank you so much. But I've got a question before you leave.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm sorry it's been a roller coaster. It's
No,
not
it's all good, brother.
a roller coaster when it gets put out. But thank you so much. But to finish it all off,
Yep.
I've pretty much asked it in a different way, but in the last question. But have you got something that, if this doesn't work, have you got something that you can fall back on? Have you, like, would you give up this if the band you're currently playing for is just you're not on?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. No, I don't think I ever will. No matter what music I've been playing in, and not just that, I've played in, several bands over the whole career that I've, worked on and strived for. But yeah, I don't see myself doing anything else but what I'm doing now. And if Snakebite turned around tomorrow, or KTO turned around tomorrow and said, I'm going to find something that I can still progress and create in. Like, it's something that, I fall asleep thinking about and I wake up thinking about. Like, and I think that's alone a positive message to anyone that wants to, if they're sitting there thinking about it and want to do it, just go do it. Like, get up there, go to an open mic, go to something local, go mingle with some of the scene that you love and you enjoy, and get involved in it. Because the more people that are, supporting and coming to, no matter what genre of show it is, no matter if it's your, silly country dude that wants to sing at the pub, or if it's a high level rock and roll band, like, if that's what you want to do, then go for it. And
Definitely.
I don't think that, anything will deteriorate from the people that want to do that and are passionate for it. Like, we're always going to find music. We're always going to find ways of outletting our creative influences, and just in general, like, Snakebite and KTO mean a lot to me, and they're something that I've fallen into and now been so comfortable with, and we're all writing great music. I mean, Snakebite's just been going great ever since day dot, and I don't feel like it's ever going to stop. And I say that because I know that Jay and Stace from Snakebite, I mean, they've been doing this for a good part of 10 years before I even joined. Like, and KTO, they started in the 90s. So, like, it's like, if they're still doing it 30, 20
years, it would
years,
have happened by now.
exactly right. Like, these people, like, I'm pretty much the youngest in both bands. So if these people wanted to stop, they would have done it years ago. Like, but they want to keep writing and creating good music and putting it out there and letting people listen to it, showcase it, love it, and be a part of their daily lives, that it's some sort of influence to them. So
exactly.
As long as we can keep
you go.
As long as we can keep influencing and creating music, no matter what form it is, then I'm happy, dude. Like, I'll always keep doing this.
Yeah. Is there somebody that you'd like to jump on the wagon with, like, that you'd like to have a collaboration with? Have you got anybody that you'd?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, playing with so many different bands on shows and stuff, you see so much great talent all the time, and you're always like, oh, what would he or she sound like on this record that we're doing? Or we've worked with a few people, especially on Black Candy. We worked with a few other people that did guest vocals, and we had a chick on the soundtrack Choke, which she worked great in the studio, and we actually had her collaborate on the song as well. So I mean there's definitely people that I'd be like, I'd love to see what we could do together and stuff like that. Pretty much every show I go to, I'm amazed by a few people that are playing. Like,
Definitely.
But it all comes down to, I guess, time.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And not just that, Dyson 2 bands is not the easiest. So.
No. But it's something that's I've seen a lot lately is that, like, I'm in this band, I'm in this band, I'm in this band kind of thing. And I always think, how do you do it? Like, how do you do it? Like, you've got 3 bands going at once. How do you work that out? Like,
the best advice I can give is Google Calendar. Google Calendar works really well, and especially if you share that between everyone involved, at least. And not just that, like Snakebite, we have a management agency, we have a record label, we have a lot of people's fingers in the pie. So it's a pretty organized and professional way we approach it.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, it's sleaze rock, and yes, every time you see us, we're drinking and playing rock and roll and stuff. But
Excellent.
the nitty gritty of the band is pretty much just professional chats between, most labels and people involved with us that make the success of our drunken rock and roll professional, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, I mean, we love doing what we're doing, and yes, we're always going to get on stage and drink a bowl of Jack and play a heap of music, but at the end of the day, like every morning we're up talking to managers, we're talking to labels, we're organizing interviews like this one where what I mean, we're working, like it's not all just like waking up in the morning, fuck it, and then you just play up. You need some sort of,
I think until you get to the point where you're Justin Bieber or Britney Spears or Beyonce or something, I think there's a band that's not going to be hard working is not going to make it.
Yeah.
You've got to put the work in.
Yeah.
You've got to, you've got to blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
You know what
exactly
I mean?
right. Yeah.
Don't be a dickhead. That's the only I know she's been a fuckwit. That's the only way that you got to be hardworking.
Yeah.
And what I've listened to you guys and KTO and everything, you don't have a day off.
No.
There's not a day where you wake up and say, oh, I'm just going to lay in bed today.
Yeah. And not just that, you have rehearsals and writing sessions and everything on top of those things that people that, will go to a show, they don't see that. Like, they don't know how many times you spent in that little sweaty recording studio trying to push a little song out of your fucking heart. You know what I mean? Like, they don't, but I mean, people in the industry and, everyone around us definitely understands it. But, it's a lot of hard work. It's not just,
definitely.
You know what I mean? Like rocking up to I mean, I'd love if it was that, trust me. And that's what rock and roll should be about, just rocking up and just playing rock and roll. That's what we've always been taught, and that's what we've heard from the genre. But I mean, in this day and age, you need to have a professional outlook on what you're doing. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that till I started this show. Like I've daily I've got to send messages to bands and everything, like, and then once I do the interview with the band, then I've got that process of promoting that band.
Yes.
Of saying, listen to this shit, and like going on to, I've got 26 sites that I go on to to promote each band that I interview. Like, and I have not yet interviewed a band. Like, what I think, I've seen it as a punter a lot, that, okay, a band comes in, they're playing third or something. A band comes in, they come in late, they come in 5 minutes before they play, and then they walk out.
Yeah.
After the gig, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't
most of the shows that I go to now, if a band does that, the stage manager won't even let them on.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten to the point now where no matter what you are or who you are, you need to be professional in some sort of aspect. And not just that, like every stage manager and stuff I've worked with, if you're not there and do what you're told and you're on the right fucking spot where you need to be, then you can just leave. Like, and that's like, we all love getting drunk. We all love, having a great time and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, people are not just making money off, events and charity support and, God knows what else we do. But, it's their time and their time they've put into it. Like, so you need to respect, everything that happens throughout the show. Like,
well, say you, like, we'll finish up in a minute, but say you're on the bill or something, and say you've been on the bill with a band 3 times, and every time, thank you, you've rocked up, they haven't come to see you play or the next band play, or they've come and done their gig. Like, after a while, no one's going to want to play with them.
Well, and not just that, no one's going to book you again.
Exactly.
Because they saw what you did last time. And I mean, KTO is great for it, and so is Snakebite. Like, we might play at the end of the show, but we're there from sound check, and not just that. Every band that is playing, we're in the front row. You know what I mean? Like, we're not sitting in the green room, fucking, I only want to come out my own fucking time and be this prima donna that's just gonna, no, fuck that. Like,
and that does happen.
Does happen, but that's what people. I mean, if you're gonna have that attitude, why play at a show? Like,
exactly,
you got to support every act, and even if you play first, stay to the end because every band's done the exact same work as you have. Like,
and even if you're the headliner, watch the number one band.
Yeah, be at the front for the number one band because that is going to create the crowd for the rest of the show. Because let's all be honest. You get to a show, the first band's playing, everyone's a little bit intimidated to, find their spot and get a dance on and really enjoy it. But if you're up there absolutely loving it, people are feeding off that. They feed off that energy and they go, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I can let loose now because I can see someone else letting loose for the music. And if you can do that for the first band, then they should do it for your last band.
Exactly. Well, my producer, the guy you met, Jeff.
Yes. Jeff's still watching. Hey, Jeff.
He did the sound. He was a sound technician for bands over in America. He's an American, and he did the sound for like in the era of Motley Crue and fucking Skid Row and all those kind of bands. He was working at a venue where he had like Problem Child and all those bands that, and that's something that him and I have spoken about is that like the sound man doesn't like dig that either. It's the same as like being in the band. The sound man, you guys are turning up now, so we've got to quickly do your fucking sound check kind of thing.
And I think that's like, I don't want to tease people that are watching this that actually, do something like that. But I think that's the difference between wanting to be there and having to be there. Like, the difference between wanting to be there is you want to be there for music and you want to support every part of the music that's happening on that show. Yeah. If you just have to be there, of course you're just going to go up, play your set and fuck off. Like, and I don't think the scene has any time for those type of people. So.
Well, I don't think it should. I don't think it should have time for those sort of people.
So sorry to anyone watching that does that, but like, if you're going to do that, then fucking get on your prima donna bike and fuck off. Like, be there for the bands, be there for the music, be there because you want to be there and because you want to have a good time with the rest. Like, we've all worked hard to be there, and not just that. Even the punters have worked hard to want to come to there and spend their money to be able to do so. So give them a good time. Like, be involved. Be the band that meets people, has a drink at the bar with them. Like, goes above and beyond. Gives them a sticker just out of random. Like that makes the punters' world because that's what they wanted to be there for, and they wanted to obviously see music and play it. Like,
Well, just to finish it off, like I got a message from a band, like my wife and I went to see. It was pissing down with rain, blah, blah, blah. And we got a message from this band the next day saying, thank you so much for coming, man. In the rain, you guys, went above and beyond and did this. And, like, it was great to hear that. Hey, as punters, we going. But, it was like, fuck, man, the weather was shit. It was cold but you guys rocked up. And I think that's fucking brilliant. You got to send me that now. You got to sign it and send it to me.
You want a stick?
Yes, I do.
A few sticks, yeah, these are the Chaos ones that Snakebite are endorsed for. So
excellent.
They're a Melbourne brand, so get on them.
Yep, definitely. I hope everyone heard that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show, brother.
No worries, man.
A roller coaster is a roller coaster, but you eventually get off.